Hello, happy we are back live again. Happy New Year to everybody. And today we want to learn something very exciting, and we want to learn about how you can measure and grow as a Scrum Master. And it's quite an interesting session today. And to keep our session engaged, we're going to have opportunity to ask questions towards the end. But then I'm going to be doing a presentation today. If you have a question why I'm doing a presentation, you can type it on the chat box. I'm going to take some time to make sure I answer all your questions. But before we get going, let me know where you are joining in from so that I can give you a shout out. So let me know where you are connecting from so that I can give you a shout out. And Happy New Year to all my LinkedIn fan of people, others joining from YouTube, others joining from Facebook. I know it's been a while. Um, God, I've been live, but then we are going to do this a bit more frequent next week. I'm going to be teaching a series on next week, both on those for those who are looking forward to get into the career and also those who are already in the career. I see Lofty from Kentucky. I see Favor from Toronto, and everyone joining in. Welcome to our live session. And today we want to talk about how to build a healthy team as a Scrum Master. I see Simit from Texas. And this is very important because as a Scrum Master or as an Agile coach, your evaluation is based on how your team is performing, right? So the reason why no one will actually really follow you around to look at what you're doing, the reason why you own your schedule, the reason why you need to build a self-organizing team is simply because based on how your team is performing, we can be able to evaluate you. Now, there are four main areas, which I'm going to summarize them to 7 tips. There are four main areas. The first area is keeping your team engaged. How do you keep your team engaged? The second area I'm going to talk about today is observe and collaborate. How do you collaborate with your team? And then the third, I'm going to talk about implement and learn, right? This is one of the core part. When you're working with your team, you need to be able to do what? You need to be able to implement and learn at the same time. And the last part, which we're going to talk about today, is leveraging metrics, measure and grow. So I'm going to go ahead, I think, in the next maybe about uh 10-15 minutes we should be able to get this through. So I'm hoping that you are able to see my screen, and we're going to be talking about 7 tips to help your team become performance as a Scrum Master. So what exactly would you be doing in this phase? Now, the first thing you need to understand as a Scrum Master is you are facilitating product delivery, right? You're facilitating or the delivery of a working software. Every time we talk about a working software, we're talking about increments. We're talking about how do you help your team deliver the work that they are building incrementally to the end user or to the customer. Right. So the first point we understand when we're looking at incremental development. Now, although Agile or Scrum is not only on software delivery or does not only work in the software delivery aspect, also in the operation, we can leverage Scrum as well. Now, Scrum is basically how to engage a team to be able to measure the work that they are doing and also helping them to be able to organize or plan the work in a way that they can deliver it one step at a time. So facilitate delivery of the work. So you need to understand your role as a Scrum Master. Now, you also need to understand that facilitating delivery of the work engage different levels, right? So you need to understand that when you are facilitating a Scrum Master, most often you're going to be engaged with user stories and epics, right? But don't forget that any work that is planned or that is delivered to you at the level of the team also is planned from upper management. Most often, the reason why we might be really frustrated as Scrum Masters in helping our team is simply the fact that we feel like all of the work that we are doing ends at the level of the team. But before work comes down to the team, work is being planned from upper management. Work is being planned from upper management before it's been sent down to the team. So this kind of a prerequisite or the understanding that you need in order to help your team do the right thing. Now we're also going to be talk about the first part of engagement. In order to help your team actually engage, the first thing you need to do is understanding the power of asking guiding questions. The power of asking guiding questions. Now, guiding questions are very powerful because they can help someone who do not have an idea or who have an idea but doesn't know exactly how to go be able to do the right thing. Now, think about it like this. You want to go somewhere, you actually know your destination, but you don't know the direction. What do? You ask a question and then someone guides you. Now you can independently go to that place. So every good relationship is a result of a valuable conversation. Now, conversation are valuable when we ask guiding questions. Right. Do you think it would be a good idea for us to have a session of a training session tomorrow? Now you're asking people, but consider this. If I come and say, okay, team, we are having a training session tomorrow at 7 a.m. versus team, do you think it will be appropriate to have a training session tomorrow, 7 a.m.? Now, it's the same thing, but the way it's being asked, it kind of engages everyone. And that is why Scrum is a team based work. What is your opinion about adjusting our Scrum event time? Right. Or I just come and like, okay, team, we are moving our event time from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. tomorrow. I just want to let you know. So asking the right question help you to engage the team, which is the first step. You need to be able to engage the team. Now, recognize what is going well. This is the second power of working with a team, which is about observing and collaborating. For you to be able to recognize what is going well, you need to be able to observe and collaborate with the team. If you're distant from the team, you will not actually find out what is the right thing to do. So we can only succeed as a team if we acknowledge that every team member brings value to the team, no matter how little it might be. So you don't want to feel like I'm the super person right here. You want to acknowledge everyone working as a team. That's where collaboration is very important. Now we want to look at listen and empower, the doctor's approach. Have you ever kind of wondered the reason why when you visit your doctor, you're really kind of more secure, right? Um, Almost everything the doctor is going to ask you, you're going to do it. If they give you a list of medication, you follow them. Why? Because the doctor kind of make you feel secure. Why? The doctor makes you feel secure. He's looking after your interest. The reason you need to take this is because of your health. Now, we all believe that because we feel secure. Now, this is what happened with the power of listening. You listen, the doctor, first of all, listening to you, lay your complaint, right? Or listening to you, kind of lay your consultation. He's listening to you, and based on what you give them, they're giving you a feedback. Right. So you are not the solution maker. Just imagine you get to the doctor's office and the doctor say, okay, based on what I see X, Y, Z, I see this, I'm writing you this without listening to you. You definitely will not really feel engaged. So you need to be able to do what? To ask questions, and then based on what you have heard, you're able to give a feedback. All right. So spend valuable time listening to your team member. They have what you need to make them help. So you're not really creating solution from anywhere else. Everything that you need, your team member got it, and they will be able to help you. Sometimes all a team member need is rerouting and not a new approach. So when you listen to them, it's like, oh yeah, I can listen to you. What you need is just to take a next step. Now the fourth thing we want to talk about is understand team member perspective. Now, if you look at this beautiful picture right here, right? Now somebody is standing on the left and another person is standing on the right. The person on the left feel like, oh, this is a nine, and the person on the right like this is a six. Right. So perspectives are very important, and sometimes look from it depends the angle where we are coming in from. So those perspectives, understand different perspective, and be able to know that everyone, it doesn't matter what they are saying, is based on their previous experience. And this is a very powerful approach in addressing stakeholders. Why is it a powerful approach in addressing stakeholders? Because most of them have been in the field which are not really agile for a long time. So they might be coming from a background which you're not even aware of. So you must be able to meet them where they are in order to understand exactly what they need. Now, the fifth tip we want to talk about today is talk about the next steps. The next steps are very important. Just imagine if I come and I sit down and I complain to you for the next 1 hour, and then you reiterate what I was talking about for the next 1 hour. After 2 hours, everybody's going to be exhausted and no one will be able to do anything, right? But then if you say something, and what I do is I try to reroute you. I try to reroute you and kind of give you more or less positive energy towards the solution. It's going to be important. Sometimes the reason we can't figure out a solution is because we can see beyond the problem. Right. So if we see beyond the problem, it's easier to find a solution. Success is a measure of how close we are to the next step. Right. It's not where we are. Yes, we need to acknowledge where we are, but how close we are to the next step is very important. You need to help your team set long-term goals. So last step is about making them see the future. Right. Your team might start, they're not really doing good now, but you must be at that position where you are encouraging them to see much clarity in the future. Number six, coach in the moment. Now, coaching is not something you do when you meet the team. Coaching is an integral part of your life. So, if you must be an effective Scrum Master, you must learn the soft skills, you must learn the communication skills, you must learn the people skills that are integrated in your day to day process to help you become better. Because if you definitely want to coach just when situation arises, you see yourself always getting frustrated over and over again. Right. Enhance communication and collaborate by connecting with your team frequently. Right. Not just when there is an event, even when there's no event, you want to check on them. You want to make sure they are doing okay. So it's very important for you to focus on that engagement. And the seven tips which we have for today in order to help your team become performant, commit to continuous learning. Now, many of us, when we get what we want, we automatically stop learning, but that's not supposed to be the case. Now, when you stop learning, when you get what you want, even if you implement what you want for the next 5 years, after 5 years, you still find yourself where you started because you have not made any progress, right? So you need to ensure that every opportunity you find yourself in is an opportunity for you to learn. Self awareness and self management are crucial skills for any coach, which you only get this by learning and by study. You need to stretch yourself and your ability to serve others as a coach. And you do this by building yourself, by working on yourself, by studying, and by also taking on extra skills. You need to understand that personal work is never finished. It's a continual process. If you can do all of these, then we can sum this up like becoming a coach or becoming an effective coach or growing in your journey in any career, not just in agile. It's all about your ability to understand that the learning process, it's all about a compass. Now, a compass actually directs you based on where you're going to. So you might be walking to this direction and thinking, oh, I'm going to this direction. At the moment, the compass is going to say, oh, if you actually are going north, you're not supposed to go this direction. You're supposed to move this way. So based on how you're standing, the compass actually spin to give you the right direction. And that is how learning and growing and improving your skills as an agile practitioner is. It's about what position are you in at that point. It's about the team, it's about the environment. So you must learn how to collaborate, to improve, to deliver, and to reflect. Right. These are cardinal points that help you to kind of reroute yourself, know exactly where to focus. And you constantly will need to do an assessment based on where your team is. Based on where your team is. So this is very important for you to know that if you want to do well as a Scrum Master, one of the things you want to focus on, you want to be able to focus on improving your team. Now, if I may kind of reflect this in a space where, if I may kind of reflect this in a space where you are actually um, working or still in the process of getting where you become really, really effective with learning how to become a Scrum Master. And kind of looking at that, we're talking about what is taking or what it takes to kind of get into the job market today. You realize you must understand what is happening in the job market in order to prepare yourself on how to get into the job market, right? So now, how does this information, what we have just shared, the tips that will help you build a performance team, help you if you're still about preparing to get into the space of Scrum? Now you already understand what are the expectations of a Scrum Master, or what are the expectations you need in order to become effective. Now, in that case, what you are doing is that you are now preparing your mind right ahead, and you already understand what you need to do while you are in that space. So the key, which is one of the most important points, which was the last aspect we discussed in the video today, was that you need to embrace continuous learning. You need to measure and grow all the time. Now, sometimes you might feel like I have done everything I can and I have not seen the result. It's just an indication that there's still more that you can do. So if you feel like I have done almost everything I can and there is no result, it's an indication that there is still more that you can do. So our goal for 2024, what is going to help us succeed is our ability to constantly monitor, our ability to constantly monitor where we are and to be able to make progress. We monitor where we are and we are able to make progress. We monitor where we are and we are able to make progress. So that's what's going to help you. All right. So this was just like a very quick presentation. I think for those who are watching us, if you have a question, you can put in your question in the chat box, and I think I have a couple of minutes or so to answer your questions. But then, if you don't have a question, next week I'm going to be running a couple of live sessions, but that's going to be more during the midday, during the lunchtime, so that we can have a lot of people. I'll try to schedule them today. And the live session for next week is basically we want to be focusing on what is your role in implementing or in facilitating events as a Scrum Master. So let's connect next week to take it up from there. Meanwhile, at this point, if you have any question, we'll see you on the other side. Or just if you have any question, you can drop your questions right down on the chat box, and then we'll take it. I can take it from there. On my next video, I should be able to address it. Have a good Friday and enjoy your weekend, and see you sometime later on.